Hi, friends. Welcome back to Her Money Mindset Show. I'm Stephanie, her money coach. Are you ready to unlock that final piece in our journey to get to the best money year of our life? This is where the rubber meets the road. We've talked about our money story. We've envisioned our ideal future and everything that's possible. We've nailed down some powerful goals. Now, today, we're going to build in habits that will keep us on track. It's the habits that actually transform those goals to guide us to our dreams. This is another topic that I'm just obsessed with. But if you can imagine, each day you move through your routines almost without thinking, from waking up, brushing our teeth, to getting to the gym. These are habits that shape our lives, whether we realize it or not. The exciting part are these habits are really the secret to us getting the goals that we want. They're the power behind how we're going to get there. One of my favorite books is called Atomic Habits by James Clear, and he highlights the power of these small daily improvements. If you improve just 1% each day, by the end of the year, you'll be 30 times better. On the flip side, if you're getting worse by 1%, you can bring down to nearly nothing. So that is motivating to me to just make those small tweaks that over time are going to compound on each other and build up and get me ultimately to where I want to go. This isn't an overnight thing. It's a process, and it takes consistently sticking to habits that will build on each other and, like James Clear says, either work for good in our life or it also works he talks about how habits work. And basically, it's these 4 steps. There's a cue, and then a craving response, and then a reward. He talks about there being 4 simple steps to creating a habit. There's the cue, there's the craving, there's the response, and there's a reward. These are the steps that are at the core of every habit. So the cue is the trigger that starts the habit loop and your decision-making process. So by identifying the cue, you can become more aware of what starts your habit, allowing you to control it because you know what activates it. So when it comes to money cues, you can recognize these patterns that lead to spending, for example, like browsing online stores when you're bored. That could be a cue. I'm bored, I'm sitting in front of the TV, I just go on my phone and I start looking at Instagram and what I could buy. And as you notice that that is a trigger for you, sitting there watching TV being bored, you realize that is a trigger and you can then redirect your attention. Let's say our behavior is we watch Netflix from 7 to 10 at night and we're bored. And so our natural inclination is to have our phone and go on social media or Amazon and just browse and buy things. That's just a habit that we have. And once we notice that this trigger of watching TV and being bored leads us to get online and spend, we can then redirect our attention and inevitably change the habit. Then the second part of a habit is cravings that drive our desire to act. This is what gives the purpose and motivation in this habit loop. One way to think about this in a money perspective is this idea of shifting your cravings for instant gratification to long-term satisfaction. So if you're sitting there watching TV and you're bored and you pull out your phone and the trigger happens and you start just mindlessly scrolling and buying, instead of doing that and crazing the new clothes, you can focus your brain on the satisfaction of reaching your savings goal. Once you see the trigger And the craving, you can redirect that as well. In this example for a purchase, the craving might be the excitement or pleasure of owning. Then the third part of this habit loop is the response, which is the actual behavior or habit that you perform. The response needs to be simple and achievable, so you're likely to follow through. In regards to money, that means making money habits that are easy to execute, like setting up automatic transfers to savings or automatic debt payments, making it basically effortless to act on your good intention. For a purchase, you might research the item, compare prices, consider it to your budget. And lastly, and most importantly, is reward. The reward satisfies your craving and is what reinforces this habit loop, encouraging you to repeat the behavior, whether you want to or not. The reward is what motivates us to have a feeling of accomplishment. We can use this in our money habits by celebrating small wins, like paying off a loan or sticking to a budget. This positive reinforcement encourages us to maintain these good habits. If we think about it from buying this purchase, the reward might be enjoying the new item and feeling a sense of satisfaction or this regret from the purchase. This is a powerful and easy framework, which helps us break down these complex behaviors that are happening as we're creating habits. As we focus on each step, we're becoming conscious and we're able to change our routines if we want to. We're not like robots being automatic over time, which could help us get rid of habits we don't like impulse spending, or create habits that we want, like saving and investing. Our daily habits are truly the foundation of our money health and anything else, any other habit, and any other goals that we're reaching. They're not only like the silent conductors orchestrating your path, but it also is like armor protecting us from those life situations that we don't expect, like a job loss, unexpected bill, no sweat if you there. Those are no sweat if you have strong money habits. You're ready to make smart decisions no matter what the situation is because you have been nurturing these habits over time. And as you're nurturing these habits, they're rewiring your brain and you've gotten to the habit of budgeting, saving, investing. So chances are, even when something happens, you're going to make good money moves. But if you're on the spend now and think later train, it might not work that way. And changing your money habits, like all things money, changing your money habits is not necessarily about numbers. It's about the mindset, our thoughts, the thoughts that generate the feelings that generate the actions, and that's how we get our incomes. We've all been there. This is not a judgy thing. I am not perfect. You're not perfect. We've all made financial choices that we regret later. And as you know, I've shared many of them on this podcast. The biggest, most recent one being the small business that I started that didn't work out. But there's also those small things like losing track of my spending. That's something that I used to do really diligently that I think is important that I lost the habit of. I would want to identify that and realize that that's something that I want to do. I'm not going to ignore it. Sometimes we ignore it and we think it's not a problem. But if we're not getting the outcomes we want, then those are things we need to look at. And just like all of these things we've been talking about, our habits often show what our deep-seated beliefs about money are. We talked about this in depth in the first episode we did of the series when we talked about our money story and our money beliefs. If you want to go back and listen, it might be helpful because if you grew up, let's say, on a money tight household, you might be holding on to scarcity mindset, and that's going to affect the money habits that you have. But the good news is you can rewire those beliefs and you can go from scarcity to abundance by changing your beliefs. So you could go back and check out that episode where we break down exactly how you do that. Our emotions can lead us to make some pretty irrational money moves. The emotions of fear, excitement, peer pressure, they can push us to make money decisions that don't align with our goals or our vision or what we want out of our life. So when we build the emotional intelligence, we don't learn how to build emotional intelligence around money in school. We just aren't taught these things. It's a skill that we need to learn. As we recognize the habit loop that James Clear talks about, we know that there are triggers that make us do things habitually. Many times, they're based on emotions that are based on old beliefs. We talk about this a lot in the second episode of this series when we're learning to create a money vision. We talk about how that drive for material things is often from a feeling we want, not necessarily. Keep checking in with yourself about, are you clear on what you want? And you can go back to that episode on creating a money vision, because that helps you dream and imagine all of the possibilities. Make sure that they're aligned with the things that are important to you. And that's the basis of where you'll set your goals. And Tony Robbins says success leaves clues. So if you look at other women out in the world who have made it big financially, they have habits and mindsets and a relentless drive towards financial freedom. These women don't just sit back and live on autopilot. They're consistently learning and growing. They invest in their personal development, whether it's books, courses, networking. If you want that, that's what you need to do. You need to invest in money skills. Like I said, it's not our fault that we don't have these skills, but it's our choice to learn them, which you're here. That's exactly what you're doing. Also, like I said before, successful women who have financial goals they want in their life, they have multiple income streams, whether it be side hustles, investments. They are not just relying on one day-to-day job. And I know that the idea of this seems hard because it seems like it would be time consuming, or there's a lot of reasons your brain is telling you why you don't have time or can't do this. But people that are successful financially diversify their income so that if they were to lose a job or a business or make a bad investment, they're not done. They have options. Also, successful people tend to flock together. They understand the power of having a strong network. It's not just about like socializing, but it's about learning and growing for other people and also how they push you towards your goals. So surrounding yourself with people who have and want the same things as you is very important. Dan has a famous quote, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." And what he means by this is yeah, the people that you are around regularly, they have a significant influence on your money attitudes, your behaviors, and ultimately your success in life. If you're surrounded by negative people, you're going to catch that negativity. It's contagious. On the other hand, if you're surrounded by positive, goal-oriented people, that can enhance your own potential growth and make you more positive. There's research that backs this up. If you have people around you who budget, save, invest wisely, you're likely going to pick up similar habits. Seeing them make smart money choices encourages you to adopt these practices. In fact, a study published in the New England Journal of Medicine found that you're more likely to become obese if a close friend becomes obese, suggesting that the impact of these social networks impacts your behaviors and what you become. Conversely, if your group of friends prioritize health, eating, exercising, you're more likely to be incorporating those habits into your life also. There you have it, my friends. As we finish up this episode on money habits, remember the small things you do every day can make a huge difference in your financial future. By knowing what starts or triggers your habit, you can learn to respond to them differently and you can change your path. Use this knowledge to build routines to help you reach your goals. It doesn't happen overnight, but it comes from consistent and discipline every day. Keep investing in good habits that support your financial growth. You've got the skills and the mindset. Now let's get out there and do it. As we end our 4-week series to kickstart your finances for next year, let's think about the journey we've been on together. In week 1, we looked at your money story to see how your ideas about money have developed, what your beliefs are, and if you choose to change them. Then we imagined what your perfect future could look like. in creating a money vision, which helped us to see all the exciting possibilities. Then we set up a strong plan to help you achieve your goals. And today we talked about the daily habits that keep those goals on track. Each of these steps work together. So keep going, stay motivated, and watch your life change. If this episode helped you, please share it, leave a rating and review. It helps get the word out so we can help others in money setback find peace and momentum. And don't forget to visit hermoneycoach.com and subscribe to my free weekly newsletter. See you next week. And until then, remember, you have the power to change your financial future, and I'm here cheering you on every step of the way.